in the political season, and I got a special guest for you. Welcome to the broadcast. Again, my name is Anthony C. The program you are watching is FOL Spotlight. It is called Focus on Liberia Spotlight. Focus on Liberia Spotlight is a program that we use to recognize, introduce, and throw the spotlight on one of our own, somebody from within our community, out of taking a giant step, trying to do something out of the ordinary. And I got one for you, and you don't want to miss it. Welcome to the broadcast. In this edition of FOL Spotlight, I got a senatorial aspirant, or maybe I should say candidate, for Grand Bassa County. So, if you have been thinking that the race to the Grand Bassa County Senate seat, uh, maybe I should tell you that rate is getting tougher by the day. There are a lot of good candidates, and you will have a variety of them to choose from, especially when you are from Grand Bassa County. Welcome to the show. My guest in this edition of FOL Spotlight is Madam Magdalene Harris, and she has thrown her hat in the race for that powerful seat in Grand Bassa County. She is telling me, Anthony C. I got all it takes to represent my people, and so she has made herself available. But what she did not see coming is that this guy called Anthony C. is always asking a half question. Hey, she's prepared, man. Let's get started, folks. Hit that share button for us quickly as I welcome my guest, Madam Magdalene Harris. Welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you, Mr. C. How are you?
I am doing well. How you doing? I know you were in Grand Bassa the other day. We started chatting. You have some business to take care of in Morovia, so you are there now. How you feeling? How Morovia? How is the people of Grand Bassa County?
Well, thank you for having me on the show. And I want to say thank you so much for giving us the time to talk to you. The people of Grand Bassa County, they are doing pretty well. Everybody is gearing up for this political season because we are moving towards another trend of our lives where we make decisions as to who we select this time around for our future. And the people of Monrovia are also doing fine. And I was around the city today, everyone is kind of like minding their own business and gearing up for the political season.
Thank you. And yeah, I focus on Liberia. We are happy to have you, and we are glad to hear that the people of Grand Bassa County are doing very well, to correct myself. And the people also in Morovia are also doing well, and thank you for conveying that to us. But hey, you have a huge tax on hand, and Liberians want to hear from you whether or not they are from Grand Bassa County, because when you become senator, you will not only be representing Grand Bassa County, you'll be representing Liberia, you'll be representing Liberians, and you will be upholding that flag high in the nation's capital, Morovia. So let's get started. There are many people who don't know you, and they don't also know that you are running for that Senate seat. So let's get started with who you are. Who are you, and why are you running?
Well, my name is Magdalene Harris, and I know um, on the show a couple of people may know, may have heard my name, Magdalene Harris. I am from Grand Bassa County, actually from 3 district, administrative-wise, but electoral-wise from number 5. So there's a little town called Bachu Town is where I come from, where my family is. So there were from that whole township. Now, when you ask who I am, I'm a woman, married with children. I have 5 children. My husband and I have been married for 29 years. We were high school sweethearts. We met. We're now married, and we've been together 32 years. So we have 5 children and 7 grandchildren. We are also in ministry. My husband is a pastor and ordained minister of the gospel. So we run church, and so from the spiritual side, I support my husband from the music and the strategic planning part of the ministry. Now, when it comes to from outside of church, I am a humanitarian who worked with nonprofit settings for over 28 years. I worked with the Association of Evangelicals of Liberia. I also worked for the United Nations, and then I worked for the DC government. So after the war, and I went to school in the US, and then I was opportune to have worked with these different institutions, from the nonprofit setting to the UN and the US, the DC government. So I bring different flavor to this process. From the spiritual side, I'm a woman of God first, and then a mother, then a humanitarian who is also who have also been in humanitarian work for 20 years, a little over 28 years.
Thank you so very much. At least my audience now know who I have as my guest. I couldn't be more impressed with, your family history. I am not as lucky as you are to have married my, high school sweetheart, but you are the lucky one. It's a good thing, and it is good, and that your husband is also a man of God. That is also good. But I know earlier you were trying to talk about your experience, the experience that you are trying to tap into to represent your people. You talk about 28 years in the private sector. You have the opportunity to have also worked with the DC government. How are you going to use these experiences in terms of work that you have? How are you going to use them to your advantage as you try to take on this race?
One of the things that we have to realize is that we have all been part of a broken system.
Mhm.
And as a woman who come from the culture where women are being suppressed, I see myself and other women who are standing up into public service or into other areas of life to improve the quality of life of people.
Mhm.
I see it as a privilege first, that people can trust me with their future. I have worked in this country from 1994 and right after the war, and I worked for the AEL. We started a loan program under the local enterprise assistance program that was sponsored by World Relief USA at the time,
Mhm.
under the Association of Evangelicals Liberia. So I had opportunity to work with me across different sectors of this country in providing loan services to me. Then I moved on the youth and started working with local, empowering them and training staff into the loan program that provided services to disadvantaged women or whoever, because I know after many people look up to the women because there were a lack of opportunities for men. So we took on the role of taking care of the family in many cases. Then I had the opportunity to work with the development program where I served as a youth immigration officer for UNDP and the UNP Trust Fund to help transition from war to peace. Before, after 2011, and I had opportunity to go to the US for master program, master in management, and then the school and local public administration. So those are values I have to bring to the table. What I have learned over the years and what I have heard over the years, I see a consistent, I see gap leadership, I see the need for people to get from where they are to a better place. And it takes people with the expertise, it takes people with the mindset, it takes people.
Mana Harris, are you still with us here? Mana Harris, I seems to be there is an issue with her connection there.
To move people from where they are to improve the quality of life.
Yeah, Mana Harris, can you hold on for a moment? Can you hear me? Yeah,
I can hear you.
There is some difficulty with the transmission. The network is tripping, so the quality of your voice has dropped significantly. Can you make adjustment at your end?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. Your voice quality had dropped earlier. I hope it has gotten better now. Yeah, I heard all that you said. Stay on qualification. I want to know, besides the ones that you listed, what are other things that qualify you for the office you seek? And what other candidates don't have that you bring to the table? And let me specify the qualification that I'm talking about. Liberia is an interesting place. And those of us who have had the opportunity to have traveled, there's this tendency that when we return, and people say we don't qualify because we are new. They don't know us, we are just come. So, I mean, besides you, the other candidates, what you think you bring to the table that they don't bring, for which you think you are a better candidate compared to them?
Well, if someone tells you that you are new, either they're trying to scare you away.
Okay.
Yes, either they're trying to scare you away, because you and I know when they leave from here and go to the States, they come to us.
No.
And yes, they come to us and we work with them. But most time when you come home, then they tell you you knew. It's a scare tactics to keep you away. But for me, I bring a lot of values to the table when it comes to leadership, when it comes to accountability, how government can bring, how government should to work for.
Mana Harris, we will get to that part, but what I want to hear from you is the people of Grand Bassa County. You have been in the county now. You have been talking to citizens of Grand Bassa County. In your opinion, how do they see you? Do they see you as their sister, their daughter? How do they see you? Don't they see you as a stranger? I mean, I really want to hear this because it's happening quite too often.
Well, the people of Grand Bassa County see me as their own.
Okay.
Okay. Those people who, when I came initially, other people who are in the race were inciting citizens that, oh, she's a stranger. She comes from America and she is tired cleaning up in America, and so she coming to look for job here. But now we don't hear that anymore, because apparently they told me a dream until they found out that I was not a stranger, because my footprint was everywhere in the country. My work over the years was speaking for me and still speaking for me. I have relationship with the people in the rural area than anyone that I know of. I have relationship with young people. I have relationship with women. I have relationship with the elderly. So no one can now tell me that I'm a stranger. Everyone see me now like, okay, you need to stay away from the race now and maybe wait for 2023. So that's the next message that I'm preaching, because you're new to the politics of Grand Bassa County. So it's from the stranger life now is that Grand Bassa politics is new. So I get away from Grand Bassa politics and wait for 2023. So it's different from time to time when people come, when you come into the race, you have to be strong, you have to be focused, you don't allow people to distract you with the different things that come around. And the terrain, the political terrain, it may seem tough, but you have to know that you have a mission, and your mission is to elevate the lives of people, the people of Grand Bassa County. Their lives need to be improved. Students, children need to go to school. Women have access to healthcare. And young men will have skills and create. We need to create opportunity for them so they too can have valuable lives. So that's my focus.
All right.
So I'm not focused on the rest of those things.
Okay. We will get to your plans, your goals, and agenda, maybe if you like platform. Now let's come to, why you are running. I want to know why you are running. What is wrong in Grand Bassa County? What are the things that are not in place in Grand Bassa County? What is missing in Grand Bassa County that you want to find? What is wrong that you want to correct? What are the problems that you see you want to solve in Grand Bassa County? So, in other words, what's going on in Grand Bassa that you think not good for your people or missing, for which you are saying, I'm going in there, I'm going to fix it? What are the things?
Our people need leadership. Our people need to be unified so they can find direction for their lives. The quality of life for our people need to be improved. Our leadership, we need to work together so the interests of the people can be put as a priority for the younger generation, our citizen as a whole. That is missing. In the midst of of recovery, where we have gone through war, and now we have transitioned from war to peace. We need clearly defined roadmap for our people. So to elevate the lives of our people, to educate young people, to provide some form of leadership for our people. That I see missing, and I want to be part of the process with other people who are already there and have the heart and passion to serve the people, so we can work together to provide direction for our people.
Thank you so very much, folks in cyberspace. This is Focus on Liberia Spotlight. We are in conversation with Magdalene Harris. She is a senatorial aspirant for the Grand Bassa County Senate seat. So the race to the Grand Bassa County Senate seat is on. Many candidates, many options, and someone will say many good options for the people of Grand Bassa to choose from. And Magdalene Harris is in that race, and she's saying she had all it takes to make it happen. Madam Harris, the responsibility of the office you seek. I have a few questions. One, what are the responsibility of the office that you want to occupy for Grand Bassa County?
Well, the responsibility of the Senate, of the lawmaker, as a senator, my responsibility would be to provide oversight. Okay, and my responsibility would be to to sponsor bills and to to so for my oversight responsibility, whatever committee that I serve on, I should be able to provide the leadership that will be in the interest of the Liberian people and my constituent, which is Grand Bassa County. And so I will sponsor bills and I will review bills and ensure that all of these things should be in the interest of the Liberian people and the people of Grand Bassa as a whole.
All right, thank you. You just said that the responsibility of a senator, I heard you saying oversight. I heard you saying sponsoring bills, if not, maybe introducing bills. But I always also hear lawmaking, and I think you will agree with me. So there are three cardinal responsibilities there.
Yeah, lawmaking. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me how you're going to execute each of those responsibilities, starting with oversight. How will you carry on oversight, and what will you be providing oversight on?
Well, one of the things that I have to bring to our attention is that as a lawmaker, every committee that is with every office within the executive, what are the economy, what are budgets, what are security, what are foreign affairs, you have an oversight committee in the House. So whatever committee that I find myself, I will ensure that that committee serves the people. For example, the budget committee.
Okay.
If I serve on the budget committee, my job would be to ensure that the Ways and Means of the House have a clear understanding of the budget process from the executive to benefit the Liberian people. For example, how do we arrive at our budget numbers that come into the House from the executive? How is the Senate reviewing the budget and making decisions when it comes to education, when it comes to the economy, when it comes to youth empowerment, when it comes to security, when it comes to things that matter to the people of Liberia? How do they work with the executive to ensure that the budget process benefit the people? Okay, so those are some of the issues that I cared about. Okay, for over 6-7 years, I've been following the budget process, and every time when I look at the budget, I have realized and have come to the point where the budget, the national budget, the education budget and the health budget, they have never exceeded 10% of the national budget or less than 10% of the national budget. Now, when Madam Ellie Salif took over in 2008, we had a budget of $88 million. And by the time she got out of power, we had a 500 plus million. And the education budget and the healthcare budget never exceeded or never reached 10% of the national budget.
So you're going to change that, Madam Harris? Are you going to change that, and how are you going to change that?
No, what I'm trying to tell you is that I want to understand how the numbers are developed, how the figures are developed at the executive level and coming to the Senate. How do we do our spending plan? Those who in the country are sitting with the program people who really understand the work that they do on a day-to-day basis. The students, how are we working with the DEOs and the CHOs in our country to ensure that the health budget benefit the people? So those are the things I'm going to be working with program people.
Thank
If
you.
I'm on the budget committee, yeah,
Thank you.
that's what I'm saying.
One of your
That's a matter of
responsibilities.
choosing.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. One of your responsibility, or one of the responsibilities of a senator or any lawmaker for that matter, is lawmaking. You have decided, I believe, sometime now that you want to be a senator. Is there any law that you have in mind that you wish to pass while in office as a senator? And then, if so, what is that law and how will it benefit the people of Liberia?
One of the laws that I really, really want to pass is called the performance law. The performance law, with it has to do with accountability, is also tied to the budget process.
Mhm.
So on many occasions, you see that the budget is passed, but the budget, they have the expenditure report, but we do not have the performance accountability report against the budget that were passed for the previous year. So let's say this year you passed maybe 500 million, and the 500 million has been distributed among different ministries and autonomous agencies.
Yeah.
They expended the budget, the money, but how do we account for what was done against the money that was approved?
Mhm.
That's the piece that is missing for me. So when we talk about corruption, and corruption is not a magic that we have to play. We just need to put system in place that will hold people accountable for how to spend the resources and account for the resources before the money we can have another one. So that's one law that I'm going to be
All right.
looking at critically.
And you think how that law going to benefit Liberia in this fight against corruption?
I know it's going to be tough, but we are coming into the Senate to fight war. We're going to dialogue with people to understand. We're going to be negotiating with people to understand that the only way we can move from where we are, we need to be responsible people to the people that have called us to serve. We need to be accountable to them, and we need to tell them and let them know where the resources going. And so people can trust government. So
Okay.
it's a gradual process, but I know my colleagues will understand as we explain what the process will look like, and we are sure that people will buy into that.
Does
I'm
it mean
sure the
that that
executive
law?
will also buy into that.
Yeah. Does it mean that that law will compare all the autonomous agencies and ministries heads to report to the Senate to justify how they spend the budget that was given to them? Is that what I'm hearing from you?
No, yeah, so, okay, let's say during the budget season, when you do the performance law, it's the executive, maybe through the good governance office, should be able to 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 monitor that piece. But then when it's time for budget hearing, you we should be like a senator should know how much money was spent, how much money was approved, how much was spent, and what the progress against those projects and initiatives that the money was spent against. And when you are trying to approve another budget, you know that this ministry that didn't do well because probably they didn't have all the money for the year, or maybe they had all the money but they didn't have enough staff to do the work, or maybe they didn't accomplish certain tasks because they were underfunded. For example, in the educational system, how do you teach the students when you do not have enough money to buy teaching materials? So those are the kind of things that we look at, because it will give you a clearly defined roadmap of how to fund government initiatives, especially things that directly benefit and impact the lives of the common citizen.
All right. Magdalene Harris is Senatorial Aspirant or candidate for the Grand Bassa County Senate seat, and she is in this race along with Nyomli Kanga Lawrence, Wesonga Meton Finley, and the man Emmanuel Yuye Dekie. These are the other three candidates in addition to Madam Harris that I know there might be others. But let me progress, Madam Harris, and I come to the issue of your office. Quite too often in Liberia, somebody becomes a lawmaker, and all we see the person is employing, their family and relatives and friends. They are not employing individual with the requisite qualification to be able to help them in doing their work. And we think that this is one of the problems in Liberia. For example, if you are somebody from a financial background, definitely you know that you may land on the budget committee. Instead of hiring somebody with financial background to be able to help you go through the numbers and prepare a report for you that you can use to go for a debate, that person's sister is on that job and she can't contribute. That's just an example. I'm saying this to ask the question, should you win? Tell us, who are the people you're going to put in your office to work along with you?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead.
Okay, so government should work for the people. Mm-hmm. We should be able to create the opportunity and environment where people can gradually become trusting government. So for me, one of the things that I have realized is that many times we elect senators and representatives, and some of them don't even have offices in their county. They operate from their home. So as a result, they cannot really make the impact that they need to make on the lives of people. Mm-hmm. So they have, family.
Folks in cyberspace, stay with us here. Connection in Liberia is usually
the normal working hour where people who are qualified will work in my office. We will provide capacity building training for people who may have the skill set at a level that need to be beefed up. So workforce development will be one of the areas, because we have to create leaders. We have to develop leaders. When you are developing leaders, it's not about your family. It's about developing workforce that will take on leadership. Because every leader, you should reproduce yourself. The reason why people want to stay in power is because they don't have the ability to produce themselves. So I want to be able to create that opportunity where people that have the skills can work. Those who do not have the skills but got potential to be trained, we can provide training for them. But I am not going to be the senator who going to hire relatives. That's why on my team now, you will realize I have people who from different backgrounds. They're not my nieces, they're not my sisters. They are people who I believe understand the situation in Grand Bassa County. And they are the people who I believe can draw our transition team and maybe our work team later on when we win the election. And so, those are people we believe we can groom into leadership, so they take on responsibility.
So I just want a short answer on this one. You are telling me that you will only hire or employ qualified people in your office when putting your office staff together and no member of your family?
I would not hire a member of my family. I will hire people who are qualified for the job and people who have potential to grow on the job as well.
All right. Thank you, Mistress Harris. Nowadays, there's this big talk about salary too high, too small, little too much, little too less. And there are even proposals, to cut salary down to 5,000. Some people want it at 7,000. How much salary are you willing to take home as a senator?
Well, the salary is something that is allotted, by law. Is different from public servants, and you have civil servant and public servant. So you have one that is up with labor law, and the other one is added into law. So what we need to be doing is to review salary against our revenue as a country. We also need to look at best practices from other countries and see, especially the subregional area where we are part of the economy, maybe better than ours. So let's look at how we can align with the income that we have in our country. What in the first place the salary go up? The salary of lawmakers go up because people trying to protect interests at the time. So they raise salary and now is directing the country. So long as is something we need to review the salary. One single person can ask them and say, you make 5,000. Another person can say, you 7,000. It has to review, it has to be done consistent with the revenue of our country. We need to look at our economy as a country and based on our economy, which are our salary structure and align those salary structure with the money we have. We cannot be having
All right, folks in cyberspace, bad connection there at the hand of my guest.
huge salary when we are you hearing me?
Yeah, you were not flowing through, but I think you got better there. Thank you. But the thing is that you just giving the technical explanation how they work in the Senate, but I just want an answer from you that the ordinary people in Grand Bassa County will understand. Mind you now, this is politics. All right. So are you willing to take at least 3,000 out of home as your salary? Yes or no?
Salary of lawyers should be reduced, but I cannot sit on this platform tell you I want to take 1,000 out of home or I want to take 2,000 out of home.
Okay.
It's important. We need to reduce lawmaker salary across this country because we have to be in line with our economy. We do not have a strong economy to have the kind of salary that lawmakers make because we depend on foreign aid to support our work industry. So lawmaker salaries cannot buck up what we beg for from other countries. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you.
So one of the I will push for is for salary reduction.
Thank you. That is a good answer. I like that. So let's come to your plans. Let's come to your agenda. Let's come to your goals and maybe your platform. I have two questions when it comes to your goals here. So what specific achievables are you running on and why each of those achievables is important to you? aim for Grand Bassa?
Well, I'll be running on 5 pillars. The first pillar is peace building and social protection. And the second pillar is growing the Bassa economy. The third is social protection. The fourth is infrastructure investment. And the last one is performance management and accountability. So those are the 5 pillars. Now, when you talk about, I'm just going to just jump to each of them briefly.
Yeah.
When you come to the peace building, social protection, for peace building, we look at two areas. We look at the justice and the security of our people. We look at what is it that we see as an issue or as a problem in Grand Bassa. What has been the issue that make people believe that Grand Bassa is a hard zone, is a highly political environment full of hatred and division? Why people are saying that? Is it political issue or is it based on social issue? And I have found out that it's based on both political and social, because on the political side, many of our young people are the church. When we have the civil war, we have warring factions all over the place. There are 5 warring factions, 4 to 5 warring factions. Now we are breathing breath of peace, but we have political warring factions because young people do not have opportunity to improve their livelihood. So they depend on politicians who are using them as militants to create chaos into our communities. So so you have political leaders, the so-called political leaders, who surround themselves with young people. And these young people have nothing to be able to provide opportunity for them to go to school, to become men and women, to be in control of their own lives. So my job would be, how do we bridge this gap to create opportunity and workforce for our young generation? How can we train them? How can we build their skills so they are in charge of their own lives? Those are the things that I will be looking at. We'll be looking at women issues, how we address abuses, how do we address child protection issues. Those are things. How do we see ourselves to unify our country, looking at each other, that we are one group of people and we cannot let divisive politics tear us apart. But we need to be looking at a future, that we can build a future together for a country where all of us can live together. Whether you Pele man or you Bassa man or you Loma man, we all can coexist and live together in harmony, as long as everybody has something to do and be in charge of their own lives, to make decisions that other people will not control them. That's what I want to do on that platform.
Thank you so very much, Madam Harris. It seems to be your LEC or something generator. You went off there, but that is okay. There, as far as I think, as much as we can hear you, that is good. Bear with me. Let me get your image or your picture placed somewhere there so that people can see you. So bear with me as I do that. But let me ask you this question. And the question is,
That
earlier you listed the responsibilities of senators, and I want to know which one is your strength, or where will you be spending more of your time and why? You talk about oversight, you talk about sponsoring bills, and you talk about lawmaking. Which one of these three is your strength? and why?
Oversight is my strength because um, oversight is my strength because I'm from the NGO background,
Okay.
and accountability is key to me, and that's the reason why my fifth pillow is performance accountability, because it is under that pillow we're going to be pushing the bill, performance accountability bill, and we also going to be holding our people accountable about how we report on money that will be approved to, for citizen benefits. So those are the kind of things that I want to do. When it comes to lawmaking, we make laws. We have a lot of laws on the books, but one of the areas that I will focus on is the implementation and the enforcement of those laws. So we have great laws, but do we really implement them? Do we enforce them? So those are areas that I will also want to focus on. For example, the former representative for Grand Bassa, Mr. Smith,
Right.
he came up with the finished goods law, where companies that work in this country, they wanted them to have at least like an industrial program where citizens will be employed. We don't hear about that anymore since he left the house. Can we bring it back on the floor to see how it benefit to continue? We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We always need to just look at what benefit the people. So it's not a matter of just making law, but also ensuring that we can implement laws that are already on the book.
All right. Let me quiz you on some issues that people have been talking about over the time. Let's look at this one, and it is on the issue of judgment and maybe making our government effective and efficient. We are having too many bad elections as a result of vacancy caused by death. Knowing that elections are very expensive, will you support a legislation to appoint someone to complete the term of a fallen lawmaker or legislator instead of these costly elections that we continue to experience? Is that something you will support?
So we have to also look at what the Constitution says.
Okay.
Yes, we have to look at what the Constitution says, because the first thing is who is going to be appointing the person to the position. So those are things that we also need to study, so we don't make the mistake because we want to save money.
Yeah,
We have
but
to.
you will become a lawmaker should you win, and you said that making laws will be one of your responsibilities. So will you commit to supporting a bill that may be initiated by someone, or you can initiate it so that maybe the superintendent of that county can be able to appoint somebody to complete the unexpired term of the passing lawmaker, to save us about $5 to $6 million to have election for a single seat, and that $5,000 can go to maybe education in that county. Don't you see that as a sensible thing to do, even if it is not in the Constitution, that you will support something like that?
Well, I will have to understand the underlying factors of everything.
Okay.
So I can sit on this platform to say, this is what I would love to understand more of what the pros and cons of that law before I can say yes to you.
Okay, thank you. All right,
I don't want to be.
Thank you. All right, let's look at this one. Why should people take you over your competitors? And let me name some of your competitors here. I think I did that earlier. We have Emmanuel Juje Dekie, we have Western guy Meton Finlay, we have Nyomli Lawrence. Why should the people of Grand Bassa take you over all these other citizens of Grand Bassa who are equally qualified and maybe more powerful than you are, if I can say that?
Well, I don't, when you use the word powerful, I try to define that word first.
Okay.
So
I like that. Yeah.
I would try to define that word first because power, when we talk about power, the power lies with the people. So the people who are in power, they are servants to the people who call them to serve. So you as a servant, you are accountable to the people you serve first. And so for me, as a woman with the heart of service, I have spent all my time with the people. I understand their needs. I know how to take them from where they are to where they need to be because I have the technical know-how and I have the ability, the capacity, the value that they need to take the country from where it is.
All right.
We need to elevate the lives of our people.
Okay, sorry. When I was talking about powerful, and you were right that we need to define, powerful in this context. Yeah, should be maybe. Bessaga is on the CDC ticket. The CDC is a well-known party in Liberia. When we come to Senator Lawrence is running on the ticket of the CPP. There are four collaborating political parties put together. That's a lot of power there. For Yuye Dekie, we understand he is a young person like yourself, but he has been working along with the young people trying to get the Vision College. And so he's attracting a lot of young people. So that's too much power there too. So that's the power I'm talking about. That what power do you have to put victory against these individuals?
Okay, so let me make this clear.
Okay.
As of December 8th, power will return to the Bassa people, and the Bassa people, they are the employers, and the seat will be vacant, and the person with a clearly defined roadmap to take Grand Bassa from where it is to where it is in terms of education, in terms of health care, in terms of what matters to them for their future and the future of children and unborn generation. That's the person they're going to take. And I believe I am that person because I've been around them. I know their needs. I know where it takes to take them from where they are to where they ought to be in collaboration with other people with the passion that I have and the love that I have for my people. That's why I'm with them everywhere where we ought to be and to know and understand the need. I understand the need better than anyone else. And that's why I am doing what I do. So the Bassa people are going to speak. It doesn't matter how much power you think, but it's the Bassa people who are going to decide who they give their power to, because as of December 8th, power will return to the people of Bassa, and they would decide to give it to the person who has the best interests. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what status you have.
Thank you. Folks, you are watching Focus on Liberia. I'm Anthony C. hosting. This is our program, Focus on Liberia Spotlight. It is a program in which we focus on one of our own, somebody in our community, or that person may come from any community, but the person is trying to do something out of the ordinary. It might be a group, it might be an institution. Focus on Liberia Spotlight. We throw the spotlight on just any person or group trying to do something extraordinary. And in this case, Madam Magdalene Harris is trying to do something extraordinary, taking the big giant step to take that position of power to serve her people. And she's saying she will be a servant. And so, as I always do, I am doing my questioning. This one for you, Madam Harris. What will you be looking for in a presidential nominee before you can vote to confirm such nominee? Because you know that would be one of your responsibilities as a senator. Are you with me?
Well, one of the things that as a presidential nominee, we need to have criteria of how we assess these people that come in. I'll be looking at their qualification. I'll be looking at what they have done previously before they were appointed, their skills relevant to the job that they've been appointed to. I'm going to be looking at some of the underlying factors of looking at the history for the work they've been appointed to. Those are some of the things that I'm going to be looking at. Again, we should be looking at how we review some of the how we evaluate these nominees. So those guidelines, what they said, people should follow the guidelines. When I was at the UN, we always had people like a committee that did assessment, but we had guidelines and the criteria that we follow to do that. Constitutionally, that those we policy wise, we need to know those things before the man can even sit before you. I can tell you one thing. I was visiting a senator one time, and somebody came and said, they have gone through the confirmation and they were waiting for results. And the person came in a room and said, "Oh, comrade, the guy called to find out how far his confirmation gone." Then he said, "Oh, yes, that's true. But I think we need to wait yet." So his colleague asked why. And he said to him, "Because I don't think I like the guy. I don't think I like him. And my spirit man does not lead me to confirm him." And I was sitting there with guests, and you talking about a country and people talking about somebody talking about, "I don't like the person. My spirit doesn't lead me to confirm this person." That's why we have issue. We don't know what are the criteria set for some of these nominees, or people just select them either because they like them, or maybe they not even look at any parameters for which they use to evaluate them.
Yeah, Madam Harris. Madam Harris, what I'm asking you is, what will you be looking for in a candidate, or not candidate, but a presidential nominee, somebody the president nominates and sends to the Senate? What will what will you be looking for in that person? I get what you're saying, but what kind of qualities that you will be looking for in that person to vote for them? You know.
Things that I was set. Sia, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. You broke down somewhere in between. I can hear you now. Go ahead. What will you be looking for in any presidential nominee? Will you be looking for
Oh,
somebody with a beautiful face? What kind of qualities will you be looking for before you can vote to confirm such person?
okay, so I'm so sorry if you didn't hear me.
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
said we need to set criteria, and the criteria's got to be not evaluating people based on the skill relevant to the position they've been nominated for.
Mm-hmm.
We also need to look at the track record of the job that they have done in that area that they've been nominated for.
Mm-hmm.
Or we also need to look at the history of this person who have been nominated on their own will of life, about what the areas that they've been nominated. so we do not put the wrong people in power.
Thank
so
you.
I was giving you an example.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was giving you an example where I visited a senator who and his colleagues had gone through commission hearing with somebody, and another colleague came to find when they will make decision on person, and that person said to his colleague, I don't think I really want to confirm that guy because, and a friend said to him, why? He said, because my spirit doesn't take him. I just don't like him. So I don't think I want to confirm him.
I see.
Yeah, seriously.
All right.
And I was sitting there and we had guests, and the person was saying, I just don't like the guy. My spirit just doesn't take the guy. So if we confirm people because we either like them, then that means we don't have criteria set to confirm people. And maybe there were some of the problems coming from.
So
because
what would be your personal criteria
to assess people?
Mana Harris, what would be your personal criteria
their,
beside the person being qualified? You said you're looking for criteria that the person should have integrity, the person must be qualified. Those are your personal criteria?
I'm not looking at my personal criteria. I'm looking at when people constitutionally there should be guidelines for certain way to assess people.
Okay.
Who are who are appointed by the president. So we should be looking at what exists in the house in the past, how other people have been doing it in the past before now. We're not coming there to reinvent the wheel, but we try to see what existed in the past. In time past, how did other people do it? And what can we do to improve it to be, in the guideline of of our constitution and the policies that we work around. So it's not me coming up as an individual to say I'm going to rate this person, but what the system calls for, what the process calls for, is what I'm going to be looking at.
Thank you. Let me ask this question. Knowing what we know now about a guy called Nabodike, and knowing what you know about Councillor George Cabinet Janet, assuming you were in the Senate, will you have voted to impeach Janet, and will you have voted to confirm Nabodike?
Oh, the Nigerian guy, you mean, right?
Yes.
Okay, so again, we come back to the process. When you follow the process, then the process will dictate whether you vote or not. Because you remember, this guy was confirmed before by the first Senate for the first position he held. But then when he was elected, when he was nominated to chair the National Election Commission, then people raised issue about his qualification. Okay, so there we have a gap. You was confirmed by the Senate before, and he held a position. But why now? Is it because it's not in your interest? Because now it has to do with election, so it's not in your interest. So you can now find the qualification of this man. So that's where we need to be responsible. That's where we need to be accountable as senators, as the House. If they had done their homework from the beginning, we would not have been where we were when the president did that nomination, because there would not have been a space So when he made that nomination, if they done their homework at the beginning. So that's why the criteria for assessing presidential nominee is very important, and would you do it in line with the law?
Mr. Harris,
Okay.
from the beginning of my
So
questions,
to
I
tell you
said,
that I
given
would have
what we
voted
know
for
now,
him would have
yeah,
been impossible, because I would have known the law, but then see what I need to do.
yeah, my question, we all know what we know now about Nabodiki. And the question is, assuming that you had an opportunity to vote, will you vote to confirm Nabodiki to any position, knowing what we know? I'm not talking about the history.
No, because I would know, and that's where the assessment come in. The assessment and the criteria will make you do firsthand, to make firsthand decision in the interest of the people, to curtail some of these things you're talking about.
All right, thank you. Again, folks, this is Focus on Liberia. We are in conversation with Grand Bassa County Senate candidate, Madam Magdalene Harris. She is in the race for the Grand Bassa County Senate seat in Grand Bassa County. This is an exclusive in our program, Focus on Liberia Spotlight. Mr. Harris, service tells us that there are three equal but coordinating branches of government. That is when you are outside, and that's why civil tells us. Civil is telling us this piece of literature. Knowing what you know from your experience, do you believe that the three branches of government are equal in reality? Madam Harris, Madam Harris, are you with me? Oh, she must be having some technical glitch at her end there. Stay with me here. Focus on Liberia here in conversation with Senatorial Aspirant Madam Magdalene Harris. Madam Harris, are you still here with me? She is here, but she froze. Technical problem there at her end, to put it right. Let me read some comments here from my viewers while I wait to see my guests joining me. I have Zul Mayon, right? I am glad to listen to most preferred candidate of the senatorial position in Grand Bassa County, Magdalene Harris. This person writes. Elizabeth Bowen, right? She is bringing in unity. Elizabeth Bowen again, Madam Harris, the way to go. She is saying Madam Harris is the way to go. And the people of Grand Bassa County will make that decision on Judgment Day. She's bringing on board change through service. All right. And this is Emmanuel Juje Dekie, right? Mr. Harris willing to take a lower salary as low as 3,000 per month. He asking a question. Madam Harris, thank you for joining me. You had some technical problem there. I will come back to you. Let me review comments here quickly. Juje again. What strategy Mr. Harris has to promote women programs in Bassa? Is she waiting to win before designing such a strategy? Juje here is throwing some punches here, true questions. Juje again, what is Mr. Harris' opinion on rape? Is she willing to develop a bill that will curtail rape if she wins? Juje again is throwing punches here. What is Mr. Harris' plan of action on healthcare in Bassa? We are seeing that some strike by healthcare workers in Bassa. What will she do in the future to prevent such action? Ben Man, right? She is asking the right question. A nation's budget is the moral and value statement. This person writes. Emmanuel Juju Dekia again, is Mr. Harris willing to form a coalition in order to defeat the incumbent? Ben Mann writes, accountability, benchmarking per progress. Juju again, is Mr. Harris willing to audit the incumbent if she wins? What is Mr. Harris' next course of action if she does not win? Manahara knows the issues. Elizabeth Bowen writes. UJ again, who will Mr. Harris hire to work in her office? Could she please read some questions? What kind of people you will hire at your office in the Senate? Jimmy Eastman, an affiliate that focus on Liberia, is asking the question, what is the aspirant senator's professional background? How does she hope to impact the Senate and her county? What solution does she prefer? Does she prefer to reduce sex and gender-based violence and the general marginalization of women? Julia is asking another question here. Are you willing to declare your asset if you win? And I hope you're paying attention to this tough question. How, as a senator with the aspirant focus on the enforcement of the law, which is an executive function? Juju again, if your colleagues ever bring a bill up to you, will you support such a bill? Dekia again, great opinion from Mr. Harry. Could you describe some of the strategic plan you will use? I think she did that. She talked about her 5 pillars. Juju again, wonderful opinionated show. Have a great night. I don't know what you mean by opinionated show, Juju, but that's what he thinks. For your last question, I would say no to the executive is the highest in the land. And for her, I would advise her to come back 2023, but not now because she is new. Manaris, you just listening to a few comments there. Somebody is saying maybe you should come back 2023, you are new. Juju Dekir had a lot of questions there for you. Your response to those questions.
Well, I really want to say thank you, UJ, for watching the show tonight. And I appreciate all of his comments. And maybe he joined us late, but we respond to some of those questions that asking in terms of
you answer some of them.
Yeah, answer some of them. And so when you ask questions consistently, either is he asking for strategy, helping, because he also raised? Because some of those questions, like he asked a bunch of
one of the questions, let me remind you, he said, are you willing to collaborate to defeat the incumbent? You want to speak to that?
You said if I'm willing to collaborate?
Yeah, to defeat the incumbent. Are you going to join maybe others who are not incumbent, maybe to put on a single candidate and go against the incumbent? Is that something you're willing to do?
Well, I need to see what they have to put on the table. I'm not going to, with people with personal interests, that bring personality to the issue rather than to the table rather than the process. I'll be willing to listen to what they want to say, because anything they do got to benefit the Bassa people. Is what I'm going to work with, not individual interests. Yeah, so I'm willing to talk to anybody who have something to offer in the interest of the people.
And then the other question is, should you now win, God forbid, what would be your next course of action for the people of Grand Bassa?
I'm going to win the election. I came in to win, and I will win. And so I'm going to be working with people who have the passion to serve and we're going to be moving Grand Bassa forward. Someone talk about waiting for 2023 because I'm new. It's a court of the Bassa people decide if I'm new, and so I will put up a clearly defined roadmap of where we need to be, and the Bassa people will choose, and I'm sure they'll choose my platform.
Madam Harris, in politics, sometimes name recognition is important. So they need Magdalene Harris, they need Wesonga Finley, they need Nyomli Kanga Lawrence, they need Emmanuel Juje Dekie. Which one is more common and widely known in Grand Bassa?
Well, we also have to look at the family line, okay, because we all have to look at family line. But the Bassa people, they're not looking at family line anymore. The Bassa people not looking at us anymore. The Bassa people looking at want to benefit them, and the future is what we look at. What we see as a future, a young man who wakes up every morning has nothing to look up to. The children that want out of school and they go to school and do not have a teacher in those schools. The woman walked 3-4 hours to Bon County because in Giban there's no clinic, or in other parts of Grand Bassa, people walking hours and they got them in Hammer from one place to another. So we're not going by start or name. We are going by what will benefit our people, what will take them to elevate the lives of people. That's what we'll be looking at this election. So the name brand is out because I know that there are people who had name and people won the election. So we are now going by name. We're going to remain focused on the needs of the people, and we're gonna give a very defined roadmap of what we will do to elevate the lives of the people and our children. That's what we're gonna do.
Well, Madam Harris, I know you are from a very strong Christian background. Listening to you reminds me about the story of the boy David. And so, are you saying that the name Goliath has nothing to do with what the boy David can do? Is that what I'm hearing from you?
You know, somebody asked me the question. You are the last time I was on Truth FM, and they said you are against giants. So what would you do? I said, well, if we think a giant, then David is here, and David it took David to bring down the giants.
Yeah.
So if we think that politics is about name brand, and if we think the people will make decisions because somebody has higher need, then this election is going to be different because people are going to be looking at the future of the children, unborn generation. That's what they're going to be looking at.
All right.
That the man can wake up in the morning and find food for himself. That our children will not become meditants because they have to be insulting other people to keep food on the table or to get school fees. We're going to change that style of this time around.
Well, Madam Harris, we can't thank you enough for coming, explaining yourself to the people of Grand Bassa, the people of Liberia, about your intention to represent them, and not just for the needs sake, but to be of service to them. Thank you for making yourself available. This is why we brought you on this program, Focus on Liberia Spotlight. It's a program we bring people who are trying to take extraordinary steps to impact life and improve the quality of life in our country, Liberia. We can't thank you enough. But we will now ask you for your parting statement, and this is what we want you to do. To speak to the people of Grand Bassa and the people of Liberia, why you can be that beacon of hope in the midst of all the odds that we all face, not only as a people in Liberia, but specifically the people of Grand Bassa. Speak to the Bassa people. Maybe you can speak some Bassa. I won't mind.
Okay. So first of all, I want to say thank you for having me on the show. And to the people of Bassa, this time we are in is a time for decision. The decision that we make is a decision that will benefit us positively or negatively. It's a decision that you're going to make for the next few years about how your children's school and your own life can be improved, or how your health system can be improved, or how your own day-to-day life can be improved. So I want to encourage you this time around. If your today is more important to you than your tomorrow, then you will settle for anything. But if your tomorrow is more important, then say no to the things that would not benefit you for tomorrow. So I just want to encourage you to make a decision. So for the tia ne amu ti de asiske glepo yi de be keyon nayon anya chen abai na de bode mo be ake kun de a block muza so for ti de ake yinya de aka yi mo be ake ayi mo be ba bode pa be wa ke de che so for the dia konche be na yen be ase ajubi that mo ni dia mo yemu blo no jidu ke ase wo mo dia ke ablo jidu. So at Sensenira and in Grepo Bank and even more make be gla or if the pani need the same waja be bo be able. So I just want to say thank you to you for having me on the show, and I hope we can have another interactive session. And to all of you in the race, know that you raise Bassa people, and for the people of Liberia, we have gone through war, we have gone through hardship, and it's time for us to put our together for our own people, put our heart service together for the betterment of the people, and put ourselves aside, personality aside, and bring service to the table. When service to the table, it benefits the people. Because people first, people first. Thank you so much.
Madam Harris, thank you so very much. You make your case. And I know you will continue to make your case because the debate ranges on. The race is not to the swift, but he who endures to the end. And we are hoping that you will make it to that final point. And we are wishing you best of luck for victory. But whatever the case going to be, focus on Liberia will remember that you came here and you made your case. Liberians will remember that you came here and you made your case. But that decision is with the people of Grand Bassa. You have taken this giant step wanting to serve a country and represent the people that you love. That is a great step. It takes courage to make such decision. We wish you the best as you continue with this race. But this is what I have for those of you who are watching. My name is Anthony C.A. and the game here is called politics. Some people call it game and sometimes I wonder why. But it's a public service. One you must come to willing to serve. The people, you should be willing to serve and serve always and always and always. And never yourself to serve. But to serve the people, you should be willing to do. That is why it's called public service. It's not a place you come because your pockets are big and you want to fill them. Because if you come with that intention, we will not have a better government. We will not have better representation. the people will continue to languish in abject poverty. And that is why I have made it my responsibility to ask people questions when they say they care about our country and they want to represent or contribute to that country's development. I love Liberia, but I've seen too much, like hunger, like poverty. I've seen it all. And so, when you come and you want to represent the people, you should come with compassion. And it's on those lines that I try to ask these questions because I want to see a better Liberia. Here I focus on Liberia. We educate, we elevate, we promote all things Liberia, especially for the good things. Madam Harris, thank you for honoring our invitation. Folks in cyberspace, thank you. This is Focus on Liberia. Watch out for another edition of the Hour of Politics. This one was not Hour of Politics. Wait for the Hour of Politics. We will let you know when that time comes, and we will go into the issue. My name is Anthony Sie, and I'm living with you, our usual song. We are all Liberians, and Liberia is that one country we cannot be deported from. Bye-bye, folks.
Thank you, Anthony.
We are Liberians.